Hey everyone, Cerulean here with a quick guide to Pictomancer in Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail. This is the new class that is the caster class to complement Red Mage and Black Mage and Summoner. It's been fun so far. You paint pictures and use those pictures to attack stuff, but you also have some basic spells. Let's go over those first. You have single target spells and you have AoE spells. Then you have regular spells and you have subtractive palette spells. These are mutually exclusive, meaning you can only use one or the other. If you have the possibility to activate and use the subtractive palette, you should, because those do a lot of damage. Okay, so let's start with that. Single target spell, let's just cast it. It changes to arrow in green, it's just a combo. It changes to water in blue, that's the end of that combo. What happens at the end of that combo? You get this little button of white paint here, and you get this 25% of this color palette here. The white paint is a holy spell. It's right there. It does AoE. Like I said, every other ability in the Pictomancer kit does AoE, so don't worry about whether you're single target or AoE on anything else. The nice thing about holy is it is instacast, so you can use it while moving. You have to reposition. Now this meter of colored, let's go ahead and do one more combo to get that up to 50, and we'll show you what that actually does, because you need 50 of it to activate subtractive palette. Now, we talked about subtractive palette for a second. Whenever you use this, it is going to let us use subtractive palette spells. So let's go ahead and activate it. Now we're going to cast Blizzard in Cyan, which then changes to Stone in Yellow, which then changes to a Magenta in Thunder. Wait, Thunder in Magenta. Those spells do a lot more damage, and as you notice, we lost our color palette, but we did gain another holy, but we also converted one of the holies into Comet. So again, holy and Comet are mutually exclusive. You can only cast one or the other. If Comet's up, you are going to cast Comet. So Comet. Bam. Very cool. Alright, so what about all the rest of these buttons on our bars? The thing everybody's going to want to know is how and when are we going to paint, and when are we going to use those paintings to attack? Well, the answer is we're going to do that all the time. Literally all the time. That is the main thing we're going to be doing. The thing I just talked about, that's our kind of in-between filler crap. So whenever you're out of combat, you can cast these instantly. You just paint them and they appear. When you're in combat, they take 3 seconds to cast with a 4-second recast timer, so they are a pain to cast in combat. You can use Swift Cast to cast them instantly, but it still has the 4-second recast timer. So be careful about when you want to recast these in combat. If you're in a dungeon, you may not want to recast them because maybe you'll be out of combat soon and can recast them quickly. If you're in a raid, you want to make sure you're recasting them at the right time. When's the right time? Well, I'm about to tell you. It's basically at the beginning of the fight, and at any time that they're up throughout the entirety of the fight. If they're ready to cast, you should cast them. I'm going to run through a quick combo here. I'm going to blow up all of these abilities all at once. I'll talk about them ahead of time real quick. The ultimate goal here is on this first set of canvases, we're going to end up painting a palm, and then we're going to paint wings, and then we're going to paint a cat claw, and then, shoot, I don't remember what the last thing that we paint is. But whatever it is, we're going to do all those things. And after we do 2 of those, it's going to activate Mog. And after we do 2 more, it's going to activate Medine. And we're just going to use those as they're up, right? And as I said, that needed 4 things to cast, but we only start with 3. So we're going to have to wait for that to come back up before we cast that final part. Then we're also going to cast this, Striking Muse. This is what the weapon motif does, and it activates our Hammer Stamp, which Hammer Stamp is a very strong ability. It is insta-cast, you can use it while moving, and it is guaranteed critical hit, so it always does good damage. The last thing we're going to cast is Starry Muse. Now, Starry Muse does a lot, and so we'll talk about that in a second, but we're going to focus on these first 2 painting areas first. We're going to basically use up all of our stacks in all of this right at the very beginning of the fight to get all of this stuff onto cooldown. Then we're going to hit Starry Muse. What Starry Muse does is actually gives us access to our biggest hitting abilities that we have, which is Star Prism. As soon as you hit Starry Muse, you can hit Star Prism. So there's no reason not to do it. Just do it. It also cures your party, right? I mean, there's probably scenarios where that's going to be beneficial. to get an extra heal on the party, but it's a damage ability. You're a damage dealer. Use it for damage. Okay. It's also going to give us the ability to get a free cast on Rainbow Drip. But in order to do so, we have to actually consume all of these stacks of Hyper Fantasia. There is so much text on here, and they make things very confusing. Let me explain it to you. Whenever you use Starry Muse, it's going to give you 5 stacks of an ability that every time you cast any one of your basic spells, whether they're subtractive or not, it's going to consume one of those 5 stacks. Once all 5 of those stacks are consumed, it's going to make Rainbow Drip instacast. And Rainbow Drip, again, does big damage, so we're going to want to do that. By the time we're done doing all of that stuff, we might have some cooldowns here of the hammer or, you know, of the creature motif that are ready to go, so we're going to reuse those. If everything else is on cooldown, then we just use these abilities that we started with. So we talked about it. Let's actually do it all, because it only makes sense when we're actually casting it. And so I know that went really fast, but we'll go back and talk about it afterwards. We're going to recast some of the motifs here. Got to make sure that we're getting our Medine ready. It's coming up. Alright, we've almost got everything on cooldown. The last thing I'm going to do here is paint this Maw motif. That's the last one that needs to go in that series, but then we're going to switch to Starry Muse. Here we go. And now we're going to cast that Star Prism. Now we're going to cast Subtractive Palette. Now we're going to cast 3 subtractive spells. And then we're going to cast Fire in Red. Once we cast this, now Rainbow Drip is insta-cast. Boom. We're going to finish off this combo so that we get some of our color palette back. We're going to go ahead and drop Comet since it's available. And then we're going to hit Medine. Now we're going to repaint. All 3 of our paintings are ready to go. Go ahead and paint all 3. It depends on the fight, right? If you're not going to end up getting another cast of Starry Muse, then don't repaint it, right? Don't spend that 4 seconds to repaint it. Now you just maintain. If you need to move, cast Holy, right? Always try to save one of those for that. Otherwise, keep repainting. Even though I can't use those, I have them available so that as soon as the cooldown is ready, they're ready. Now, whenever you get your palette up, right, in these in-between phases, whenever all your cooldowns are down, you know, try to finish the combo to get the benefit, then use your subtractive palette. Right, always try to finish the combo before you use subtractive palette, or you're not going to be maximizing your ability to get subtractive palette. That's all I'm going to say about that. Some of my cooldowns here, my paintings were back up, so it was time to switch to those. So, that's Pictomancer in a nutshell. I hope you liked it. Good luck.